Emma was 7 years old and really excited about her birthday party. Her dad, Robert Mitchell, was super rich and owned a big medicine company. They lived in a huge mansion with fancy everything. But Emma was different from other rich kids. She used a wheelchair because she got hurt in a car accident 2 years ago. Her mum died in that same accident. Robert spent lots of money on Emma's party. He bought 24 pink balloons, hired a clown for $1,000, got a fancy Princess Castle cake, and made gourmet cupcakes. Everything looked perfect in their big fancy hall. But then something really sad happened. Nobody came to the party. Emma kept asking, "Daddy, when are my friends going to arrive?" Robert kept checking his expensive watch. 2 whole hours passed, but not one single kid showed up. The truth was mean. Since Emma started using a wheelchair, all the rich families in their neighborhood stopped being friends with them. They felt uncomfortable around Emma's wheelchair and made up excuses to stay away. Then, the doorbell rang. Robert got so excited and ran to open the door, thinking finally a guest arrived. But when he opened it, he saw a black boy about 8 years old. The boy wore a Superman t-shirt with holes in it and patched-up jeans. His sneakers looked really old and worn out. The boy said politely, "Hi, sir, I heard there's a birthday party here. My name is Jamal, and I live in the public housing down the street. I don't have an invitation, but I promise I'll be good." I saw the balloons and thought maybe the birthday girl was lonely. Before Robert could say anything, Emma rolled up in her wheelchair, asking who it was. Jamal smiled big. He was missing a front tooth, and said, "Hi, you must be the birthday girl. Happy birthday. Sorry I don't have a present, but I can sing happy birthday really loud if you want." Emma laughed for the first time in months. She asked Dad if he really wanted to stay at her party, and Jamal said birthday parties were the best thing ever. Robert watched in amazement. This unknown boy made Emma truly smile in just 5 minutes, something expensive doctors and fancy events couldn't do. Robert invited Jamal in, and the afternoon became magical. Jamal played with Emma like her wheelchair didn't matter at all. He made up games where she was the hero and said nice things about all the party decorations. He was so impressed by everything, especially the huge cake. Emma laughed so hard she almost choked on her soda. But then trouble started. A mean woman named Patricia Vanderbilt called Robert. She was the mum of one of Emma's old friends and ran the fanciest private school in town. Patricia said other parents were worried about a different child playing at Robert's house, a child who didn't belong in their social group. Patricia said their families had traditional values and standards, and they didn't want their kids mixing with unsuitable elements. She was talking about Jamal just because he was poor and black. She said people from the housing project were dangerous and had bad influences. Robert got really angry. He could see Jamal outside, carefully pushing Emma's wheelchair, while they both laughed, pretending to be race car drivers. They looked so happy and pure. Patricia kept saying mean things about how these people always have bad motives and want to take advantage of rich people. Robert told Patricia that Jamal showed more class in 2 hours than she had in years of friendship. After hanging up, Robert felt sick about how cruel people were being. When Jamal was leaving, Emma asked if he'd come back tomorrow. Jamal said he'd come every day if Robert let him. When Emma worried about people saying bad things, Jamal got serious and wise. He said his grandmother taught him that people who judge by looks can never see people's hearts, and people with good hearts don't care what bad people think. Robert was amazed. This 8-year-old boy was wiser about human dignity than any rich CEO he knew. He told Jamal he would always be welcome in their house, but the rich people's attacks got worse. They started a war against Robert's family. Emma's school said maybe she should stop being friends with Jamal. Robert's company mysteriously lost 3 big contracts. His golf club suggested he think about his social priorities. Worst of all, kids at Emma's school said mean things to her and wouldn't sit with her at lunch because she was friends with Jamal. Robert decided to visit Jamal's family to understand them better. He went to their apartment in the housing complex. It was small, but super clean and organized. Jamal's grandmother, Donna Carmen, was 62 years old and very dignified. She spoke careful English and offered to stop Jamal from visiting Emma so it wouldn't cause more problems. Robert said, absolutely not. He asked how they dealt with people who judged them. Donna Carmen explained her family came from Mexico 30 years ago with nothing but hope. She taught Jamal that when people show their true character, believe them. When they try to make you feel small, remember your dignity doesn't depend on approval from heartless people. Jamal's dad, Miguel, came home from his construction job. Dirty from hard work, but full of pride. Robert offered him a job at his pharmaceutical company, 4 times his construction salary, to run community projects. Miguel hesitated because he didn't go to college, but Robert said he had something more valuable than a diploma, integrity. But Robert had been secretly investigating the attacks on his family. His lawyer friend discovered something shocking. Patricia and other rich families were involved in a scheme to steal the land where Jamal's family lived. They wanted to kick out all the poor families and build luxury condominiums. They were using discrimination and pressure to force people out for almost no money. Robert realized this was never really about Jamal or Emma. It was about greed and power. The rich people wanted to get rid of anyone who reminded them that good values existed. At a city council meeting, Patricia thought she would easily get approval to tear down the housing complex, but Robert showed up with lawyers, journalists, and federal agents. They had recordings of Patricia saying cruel things and planning illegal activities. They had emails between Patricia and others talking about removing undesirables from the community. The evidence was devastating. Patricia and her friends had broken federal laws, cheated families out of money, and discriminated against people because of race and income. Federal agents arrested Patricia right there in the meeting, taking her away in handcuffs while cameras flashed. 6 months later, everything had changed. Jamal won first place at the school science fair and got a full scholarship to Emma's private school. Emma found real friends who liked her for her personality, not fake ones who judged her wheelchair. The pharmaceutical company became more successful by helping poor families get medicine. Miguel became director of social responsibility and opened clinics serving thousands of families. Donna Carmen volunteered teaching other immigrant families about healthcare. The housing complex became a beautiful community center instead of being torn down. Patricia lost everything: her mansion, her money, and her family's respect. She ended up living in a small apartment, completely ruined. The developer went to prison, and the corrupt mayor was replaced by the first Latina mayor in the city's history. The private school got new leadership focused on inclusion. Other companies copied Robert's model of helping poor families. The whole community became more diverse and welcoming. Emma and Jamal became symbols of true friendship across social barriers. They spoke at conferences and appeared on TV shows, inspiring schools everywhere to embrace inclusion. 1 year after the scandal, Patricia called Robert to apologize. She said she finally understood that true wealth has nothing to do with money. She had written apology letters to Miguel, Carmen, and Jamal, knowing she could never undo the harm she caused. Robert reflected on how perfect the justice had been. Patricia didn't just lose her status and money, she was forced to see what a terrible person she had become. Ian finally felt genuine remorse. The story proved that kindness and justice can transform entire communities, and sometimes the best response to prejudice isn't destroying those who hurt you, but building a world where that prejudice can't survive.